Like, what is a man? What is a woman today? It's all fucked up. I can walk into Eaton Center and go into the girls' bathroom. And no one can stop me. I don't need to have any ID to show that. What the fuck is that? Oh, yeah, no, it's allowed because I feel like a woman today. But then tomorrow I feel like a man again. What?
Yeah, and it's not fair because it's like, why can't men just be metrosexual where they want? Why can't men cry and be soft or do this without being gay or without being like a bitch? Like, why does it always have to lead on to like what you're attracted to is the way you have to act? And even men's mental health, like,
what do you mean what you're attracted to is the way you have to act? 100%.
Like, there's a lot of stereotypes. There's a lot of just stereotypes, right?
No, but I'm saying if you're gonna attract whatever it is based on how you act. If you act like a hoe, you're gonna attract men who are just gonna want to bang you. No man's gonna respect you. A guy who's like a dickhead and an asshole.
There's just some double standards. Like, for example, girls can wear like tomboy clothes and they're not going to be like automatically assume they're lesbian.
Oh, nowadays they'll be asked for like, gender change and all that shit.
There's so many. I can't even touch on that. Like, that's just too complicated for me right now.
So what's the other side of that? So
the other side of it is that
a guy just as feminine.
Yeah.
And
yeah, everyone's gonna think you're gay. Even
not even gay. Like who finds a man attractive who dresses feminine?
A lot of people do.
So if a man was to wear a dress and high heels, you're going to find him attractive?
No. Okay.
Yeah, it's called RuPaul's Drag Race.
European fashion. In Europe, men, they wear a lot more embroidered stuff in Europe.
That's masculine.
Yeah, but it's not considered masculine in Western culture. In Western culture, if you're wearing anything that's not like very like, a lot of it's like T-shirts, jeans, leather jackets.
The Western culture has not been around that long. European culture, Middle Eastern has been around for thousands of years.
But that's my point is that like they will take that and they'll be like, oh, that's gay.
That's because American men have insecurities.
No, it's not gay. It's European.
Yeah, because they have their insecurities.
It's culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, So that's what I'm just saying is like there's just those double standards.
I have a question.
Sorry, Cheyenne, if you have one more note, go ahead. What are you going to say?
Yeah. Oh, I just want to know if we're doing trivia tonight.
No, unfortunately, we're not going to have time for trivia. She's so happy
I don't know.
My
thing was about the depletion of men's rights, and then that kind of just went on to a tangent about family values.
No, continue. So,
but I do want one important thing that I really do want people to understand with men right now, and whoever's listening, is that there is a very minimal support groups for men who are going through things like divorces, who are trying to get custody, who are trying to deal with mental health issues, trying to look for any support. There's only one non-for-profit organization right now called CAF, and they're like spelled CAFE, C-A-F-E, the Canadian Association for Equality. They work on doing things like campaigns like Don't Be That Girl, or they tried to set up campaigns on universities to like let people know that girls do lie about rape. Like, don't be that girl that says, oh, I didn't get what I want, like me too. Don't be that girl. But they are pushed with such resistance for being misogynistic, but not realizing that there are so many women that actually falsely accuse men. Men lose their jobs, they lose their kids, they lose their reputation, they lose everything that they've once built in a society because a girl snaps her fingers like this. Then there's no rebuttal. And like we spoke about before, the author from The Lovely Bones. There was other examples that I was finding all over, celebrity examples. But I'm like, okay, I want to ask my group of friends. I reached out to people I haven't spoken to in 10 years, right? I let them know I'm working on a podcast. Have you experienced this? And the fucking horror stories that I've known from people personally. One guy I've known for the last 17 years, okay? Great, bubbliest bear ever. Because he didn't want to be with the girl he was no longer attracted. Like, he wasn't attracted to her in the first place. She kind of stayed over one night and didn't leave. He told her, I don't want to be with you. He claimed rape. This is a guy, he was an aerospace engineer, lost his job. Yeah, he worked for Bombardier Aerospace.
Wow.
Lost his job, lost everything. And the only thing that stuck by him was the people that truly knew him. And honestly, the new girl he's with now, everything's good. He's not worried because he's got a lawyer. He knows he didn't do it. But see what I mean? Now he's got to change his whole industry. He can't go back into the aerospace.
Sadly, that woman is not going to get held responsible.
Literally nothing unless he wants to now pay more lawyer fees to take her to court And
to
he's
fight the false out.
Exactly. And so
you don't get charged for falsely accusing people.
Right now,
until if the police doesn't charge you, it doesn't happen.
In Canada, there is a law, but it's so hard to prove that law. Shit. And the only people right now is the UK that actually are buckling down on it. And just last year alone, they arrested and charged 109 women for false allegations. So they're hoping by increasing those numbers that women will stop falsely doing allegations. But this men's group is going around and they're trying to go to campuses to, let men know there's mental health available. Yeah. But they're being met with such resistance by campus crew saying, it's misogynistic. So how do you expect these guys to get the help that they need when you're backing them into the corner, demasculating them, and then telling them, you're not good enough?
It's really sad on how many, there are numerous support groups for women. All kinds. They're all over the place. The Canadian government's very good with that. But when you look at the side for the men, if a guy is going through a very tough divorce, or if he's having issues when it comes to custody battles and all that, you're not going to have a lot when it comes to groups out there to advise him the right way, free of charge and so on. They don't really have a lot of those services in place.
And it's really sad because the average Doe doesn't have the money to fight these allegations in court. So you know what I mean? You're stuck with what? Duty of public representation, and then you're stuck.
You guys know John Gameshi? Heard that name? He was a guy who had a band called Moxie Frues, I believe. He used to work for CBC, and he had allegations against him. These two girls made allegations that he, essayed them and whatever and so on. This happened 10 years ago. It was a really big thing in Toronto because this guy was very, very famous. And he hired a female lawyer. She was incredible, this woman. And she ended up, just subpoenaing all kinds of stuff, years and years of text messages and everything. And this guy was an aggressive guy. He was into rough sex, right? He choked the girl, hit her, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. So these girls, made these accusations against him, said, oh, he was very rough with me, he hit me, and I didn't give him, I didn't condone it, whatever. And so this female lawyer, when she was cross-examining one of the girls, she's like, okay, so you went on a date with him. When he dropped you off, you said that he choked you after he kissed you and slapped you across the face. She went, yeah. And she goes, then what happened? She goes, I was terrified for my life. She went, okay, no problem. And she's like, well, then you met John again a month later at a karaoke bar. She goes, yeah, he happened to be there. We have mutual friends. And she goes, but you sang a song with him. And she went, yeah. And she goes, and then you kissed him or something like that. And she went, no, just on the cheek. It was a friendly thing. She goes, okay. But the next day you sent him photos of yourself in a bikini. Why would you do that? She goes, oh, just to make sure everything was okay between us. What the fuck? And then she ended up finding out that both of these girls co-conspired because they were jealous of the fact that this guy had a lot of women who liked him and he didn't pick them to be the girlfriends. And they had text messages, 10,000 text messages between both of them talking about how we're going to take him down. By this time, he lost his contract with CBC. He used to work at a university. He lost that as well, too. He lost everything. He won the case, but at the end now he's nothing. And the girls did not get charged.
Life is crazy. Everybody who is getting married, of the few people getting married, are getting a prenup because finessing is getting so hardcore that men aren't even trying to fuck because they're afraid they're going in for a cash grab.
Forget about a prenup. Guys are getting girls to sign shit when they start dating.
Yeah. What the fuck?
True,
what kind of form do you sign?
There's forms online that they'll say, okay, if we're going to get together, you're okay if we go to
consensual dating.
If we go to first base and second base and third base, and she signs, and they both sign
contracts for sexual consent.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
because of what Cheyenne was saying about false accusations. Imagine when the Me Too movement took place, and even with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Do you guys follow that at all when that happened?
Yes. Oh, I think everybody did.
So I mentioned this last time. There was an article in Vogue magazine where this reporter, a female, made a statement that every woman should be heard and every woman should be believed. I was like, what the fuck? So I wrote a letter to the editor and I said that reporter is basically saying that every man is a liar and every man grapes or does SA. Because if every woman should be believed, that means that every man did do that. That's a really fucked up blanket statement. And that's where things have kind of gotten to where, oh, if a woman goes into the police station and gets a little bit teary-eyed, again, like what you said earlier, Cheyenne, about a guy went out with a girl that went out twice after he stopped calling her. So her feelings got fucking hurt, and again, feelings are reality. So she got all pissed off, and now she goes to cops and said, oh, he raped me, or he SA'd me. He tried to touch me in an appropriate way, and I wasn't okay with it. And the police will believe her automatically. The guy's going to get charged, he'll get arrested, and now he has to go to court and fight it. If that was turned around, I've been SA'd by females in the past when I was younger. When I was when I was younger, I had. And when I went, this was at work when it happened to me. And when I went to my supervisor, who was also a fucking female, she laughed at me and she said,
didn't do shit.
She said, what are you complaining about? You should be flattered. I was like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
I was like 16. And this one was like 28 or 30 years old.
Literally,
and I was like,
pedophile.
And her boss was like in her 40s. And she was like, oh, she was just joking with it. What's the big deal? Like that should boost your ego. I said, are you fucking crazy? Like I felt like really creeped out and gross. So if a man was to go to the police station and say, yeah, I went on a date with this girl, and when I dropped her off, she like started grabbing me and grabbing my crotch and all this stuff, and I want to file charges. The cops were like, what are you complaining about, man? She grabbed your crotch. What's the big deal?
Yeah. And that's where a part of a lot of the unreported statistics come from for men, because they're going to get laughed at. They don't think people will believe them. And they look at like the physical difference, like 100%. Like, oh yeah, that girl really had the physical capacity, but it's not that she had the physical capacity. A guy doesn't know what sometimes they're stunned. They don't know what to do. They're frozen.
You know what's really funny, Cheyenne? I remember when I was in my 20s, I went out with this makeup artist. Her name was fucking Tony. Fucking like psycho individual. We went out once. When I dropped her off, she climbed from the passenger seat on top of me and straddled me on the driver's seat. And I had to physically push her away, and she was physically grabbing me. I had to open up my car door and push her out of the car.
Wow.
And she's like, you fucking asshole, blah, 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 blah. How dare you do that? Blah, 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 blah. And I said, you're fucking psycho. Like, you're completely crazy. And when I told some of my guy friends, they're like, bro, what are you complaining about, man? I would have been all over that. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? I wasn't attracted to her.
Violation.
I was just being nice to her, and I just wanted to just say good night, have a nice day. So these kind of things happen to a lot of men.
Gosh, as a bartender, I see it almost every day, right? So there'd be my usual guys that come to the bar and just sipping on beer, and then there'll be this girl. I know who she is, but I won't say her name. She will just come and visit the bar as well. And her goal is to have a few drinks and make a move on one of the guys that are most appealing to her at the bar. No. Just a customer. Yeah.
Wow.
And like I watch her all the time. She has the smoothest, like cringiest lines at the same time.
Does she go home with some of them? Like she succeed?
Some of them, well, she's like, are you going to walk me home? And some of them say yes. And I worry like if she's going to die, because she'll ask some of the weirdest looking guys. And then there's actually one guy I was actually dating. I don't make it known that I'm dating the guy at the bar because I'm also professional. And she had no idea. And she was totally hitting on him hard. And I was just like watching creepy. And laughing. And he was looking at me. I'm like,
hopefully she'll be okay. Because if she hits on the wrong guy who's some creepy weirdo.
She's still around. Yeah.
And she does it. Can just turn around and claim me too. So.
She does it all the time, but it's just an example. Like men don't know what to do. Like there's some guys that are like they will actually move from one end of the bar to the other end because she's just freaking them out.
And, women are not very accustomed to rejection.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Women don't get rejected.
That's so embarrassing.
Like men get rejected, and it's a regular thing. But women, it's a very hard pill to swallow. So for that girl, if a guy rejects her, she'll be pissed at that guy. So.